Hello and welcome to Dare2Own podcast, a Pan-African podcast committed to empowering working class and entrepreneurial Africans in Africa and in the diaspora. We are committed to bringing you wealth creation opportunities globally through education and coaching. The content pillars for this podcast include business ownership, real estate investing, and financial freedom. My name is Stella Uwetre. I'll be your host, and our coach will be Oladipupo Clement. Enjoy the conversation.
Oladipupo Clement is a trusted wealth creation and retention expert with a career spanning over 2 decades. He is currently the CEO of LifePage, a real estate investment company. He also co-founded several other companies within the construction and software development space. He champions the crusade for the economic emancipation of the average African through platforms such as Wealth Creation Summit and Mega Housing Summit. Oladipupo consistently mentors hundreds of individuals on how to create wealth by investing profitably. He is the host of Financial Freedom Masterclass that has graduated hundreds of people. He was the host of the Game Plan on radio that reached millions of people weekly. He is an avid reader, an author, and has to his credit several published and unpublished works. He worked and trained at one of the leading financial service groups in Nigeria, where he rose to become a branch manager, senior manager, and regional vice president. He trained over 200 of the company's workforce nationally during his tenure. Oladipupo holds an MBA from Business School, Netherlands.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Osi, could you tell us what exactly are the stages of financial freedom? How many stages are there? Are there subsets in every stages? And where do we start from exactly so we don't put the cart before the horse?
All right, thank you so much, Stella. As you may have observed in the book Financial Freedom Master Guide, I listed the more or less like a pyramid of wealth, and it's important for everyone to find exactly where they are in those stages. There are 5 levels in your journey to financial freedom. Very few people are in the level of financial freedom. Very, very few people, and fewer. Okay, so let me say very few people are in the level of financial independence, and fewer people are in financial freedom. Okay, but we have lots more people in the bottom, and that's why I'm going to take it up from right now. So from the bottom up, you have financial crisis. Financial crisis is that point in a person's life where he or she is not making money at all. Like I often say, because everybody's a gifted spender, everybody's a talented spender. We don't need training, we don't need schooling, we don't need mentoring to spend. So for that reason, even though someone may not be making money, they still continue to spend money. That means something is funding it, either through begging, borrowing, or compromise, right? So people spend, and as long as you're not making money, but you keep spending money, you end up you end up being in financial crisis. The second category of people who can be considered or classified to be in financial crisis are those who have successfully built up some portfolio of assets, but they are either low on cash flow, or have no cash flow, right? Such a person too can be. So you can be a multi-billionaire if you are low on cash flow but have no cash flow. You are in financial crisis. All right. So that's the first level from bottom up. But a great majority of the people in financial crisis are mostly people who are not making money at all, but they still continue to spend. I often say to people, there are 3 realities that will happen to someone when you are not making money. Number 1, you start begging. When you run out of people from which to beg from, you start borrowing. When you run out of people to borrow from, then you start compromising, you start cutting corners, you start stealing or start lying, you start deceiving people and all of those things. Now, none of these options are honorable, but the third one can land you in jail. And that's why it's important that people take all the things that we share, take it very seriously. The second level in the pyramid of wealth is financial instability. Now, this category of people in this category, and it's important for everybody to begin to identify himself or herself, identify where you really are, and be honest with yourself, so that whatever recommendations we begin to give, you will know which one applies to you, and then you begin to take steps. People in financial instability are essentially people who are somewhat working, so they make some money, right? But their take home don't take them home. Okay, and so they have many months after their salary is paid. So in fact, some people's money have been spent before salary comes. So every time salary comes, it's always in negative balance, because there's no balance. Everything's always, they're always in cycle of debt. When they collect salary, you're using to pay off a debt of last month, a bill of last month. So nothing forward, nothing to take forward, no cash, no balance forward, nothing to move forward, right? So those are the category of people, and there are recommendations for people in that category as well. So it's good that you already have a job and that's paying you salary, but that salary is not taking you forward. There are recommendations to give to such people, but we'll get into that hopefully in the course of our conversation on this podcast. The third category of people are financial. I call them financial stability. Now, this category of people are the most deceived category of people, and I'll tell you why. They are fairly comfortable. They maintain a measure of financial equilibrium. They're doing fairly good for themselves. They live in nice neighborhood. Their children go to nice schools. They go for periodic vacation. So, I mean, in Africa, for example, and different parts of the world, we even consider those people as rich. Now, the challenge with people in this category, and the reason I say they are the most deceived set of people, is because their lifestyle is premised on their active source of income. And so, should anything tamper with their current active income, they will be back to financial instability or financial crisis. Okay, and that's why it's a dangerous place to be. Okay, so for somebody who is in financial crisis, that person already knows and will not deceive himself or herself. That person knows he's living a borrowed life, essentially. For somebody who is financially unstable, knows that nothing is balanced. But for somebody who is in financial stability, they are usually the ones who will not even listen to a podcast like this. They are usually the ones who feel they are somewhat arrogant, right? They are usually professionals who even tell you about their experiences, what they've known, what they do for different corporations, and they are really up there actually. But their lifestyle is premised on continued flow of active income. So as long as they continue to work where they currently work, the money continues to flow. And that's very dangerous. So should anything happen to some of these people, are 3 months away from bankruptcy, 3 months away to financial crisis, 3 months away from, they will no longer be able to maintain their lifestyle should anything tamper with their source of income. So it's very, very important. So if you are already earning, say, $10,000, $5,000 a month, and everything you run is on that money that comes in, you earn 5 million naira a month. For somebody who earns 5 million naira a month, I mean, you're doing good, right? But how long can that 5 million continue to flow to you without you maintaining that job? Is the litmus test for whether you are financially stable or you are next to you are next in line. So the fourth level in the pyramid of wealth are people. This is financial independence. Financial independence is that point in your life where the proceeds from your assets and investments is capable of meeting your personal needs, personal and family needs, without you having to work another day. Okay, that's the fourth level, right? So at this point in your life, excuse me, you are working for fun. You are not working for necessity. At this point in your life, the proceeds from your asset can actually replace your active income. Okay, so if you earn 5 million a month or you earn $10,000 a month, excuse me, you now have assets and that generates for you passive flow of income that can replace that money you are making. So you are not financially independent until your passive income can replace your active income. Did you get that?
You're not financially independent until your passive income can replace your active income.
Yes. So that is the level I always recommend everybody should aspire to. And it is possible, it is doable, it requires discipline, it requires a couple of things which we will be sharing in the course of this program, in the course of this podcast. The fifth level, which is really what I recommend the most, right? And I'll tell you why. It's financial freedom. Financial freedom is that point in your life where the proceed from your assets and investment is not only capable of meeting your personal and family needs without you having to work another day, but it is also able to extend goodness and kindness to others. All right? You are able to extend goodness and kindness to other people. So you are not the only one comfortable, you are also providing comfort to other people. Now, this is the secret to personal fulfillment, right? We were not created for accumulation necessarily. We're created for donation and contributions. And what really brings us the level of personal peace and fulfillment cannot be derived from what we accumulate, but from what we donate. And that's why it is what I recommend. All right. So those are the 5 levels. And it's important that all our viewers, whoever is listening to this right now, should ask themselves very important question. Where exactly am I in these levels? And be honest, be truthful to yourself. And if you are dealing with pride or arrogance or whatever, then you need to deal with that as quickly as possible, because pride and prosperity don't work hand in hand. If you truly meet people who are doing, they are not arrogant. They are very humane, they are very reachable, they are very, you know, they are classy, simple, but no noise around them. True wealth is not noise making.
I like that. Pride and prosperity doesn't work hand in hand. So it means that prosperity comes with a certain kind of character,
Absolutely.
who we are. Mm. I like that. Thank you very much for sharing those 5 levels. Those 5 levels. But the next question would be: is there an assessment tool that we need to use, or some form of test that we need to undertake for us to genuinely know where we are? Because sometimes, when we're the ones judging or setting the criteria, we want to be very nice to ourselves and favorable. So is there an objective tool that we can all take and say, okay, based on this result, this is where I am? And at the offshoot of that, once we take this test and we know where we are, what is the first step that we need to take wherever we find ourselves in order to make progress to the next level?
All right. Interestingly, my mentor, which most of you already know, Dr. Lumide Manuel, wrote a book many years ago, uh, How to Be a Millionaire, and later it was translated to Pathway to Wealth. In that book, it documented financial intelligence test, which I call financial health assessment. All right. And then he later wrote a book which most people now know as The School of Money. In that book, you also find it. So um, what we've done and what I've actually done personally with my clients and with my mentees and people within my communities is to ensure that everybody now take that test. So we've more or less automated it. All right. So we'll provide the link for that assessment in the description around this podcast, so that you can take that particular test, know exactly where you are, answer it honestly. You see, I always say to people, the worst form of deception is self-deception. Anybody can deceive anybody, but don't deceive yourself. So it's important that you take that personal test, financial health assessment, to decipher exactly where you are. The beauty of this platform that we created is that it will send you your report, your financial health report. It will also give you recommendations. So depending on where you are, So it's automated. So once you complete based on your responses, to send you your financial health report, and that is actually when you can begin to derive as much value from us and the things that we teach and the things we share. I always like to take people through that process, just like a professional, a medical doctor will not begin to prescribe, will not get into prognosis until it conducts a diagnosis. It's the exact same step we use that test to do. So once we can confirm exactly where you are, then we can take you on a journey, of recovery, depending on where you really are. Okay, or the journey of revival, because some people are completely, some people need life, some people are gasping for breath, and all of those things. So depending on where you are, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. All right, my mentor would say, whenever you wake up is when your morning starts. All right, and so whether you are 50, you are older, or you are younger, the earlier you embrace your current reality, then we can connect you to your desired reality, giving you step-by-step guide. That's pretty much what this is about, no matter where you are anywhere in the world. Because your location, your geographical location, does not necessarily change your life if you are not changing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm glad that you shared that. Before I go to my next question, I just want to encourage everyone who is listening to go to the description. Make sure that you click that link and make sure that you take the test. There's no point to start treatment when you don't even know what the ailment is and what
Mm.
stage your ailment is. And like you said, if you don't know what your current reality is, how do we guide you towards your desired reality? So make sure that you take this test in the description box, and you get your result, and then we can take it from there. So now that I'm assuming that we've taken the test and I know where I am, say in any of the 5 levels, in any of them, what is the first thing that is required of me to do or to become or to start with?
All right. So there's in my book, Financial Freedom Master Guide. The book is actually premised on the triangle of life, right? And that is be, do, and achieve, right? People are not doing because they've not yet become, and people are not achieving because they are not doing. So doing becomes easier when you become that type of a person. So the version of you that exists today can't possess the future, can't possess the dream in your heart, right? So you need to become a superior version of yourself. And that's why the most important investment you would ever make is not in land, is not in shares, is not in crypto, is not in business, is in yourself. Why is that so important? You are the most important critical success factor. If it must be, it's up to you. So investing in you is way more important than investing in everything else. And you know why that's important also? You are the only constant in all of the things that you will be involved in. So whether you want to invest in land, you are constant. Whether you want to invest in shares, you. So you need superior wisdom. You need superior insight. You need superior um, concepts, to be able to make quality decisions. I always say to people that your financial destiny cannot be better than the quality of your financial destiny cannot be better than the quality of your financial decisions. And the quality of your financial decisions also cannot be better than the quality of your financial education. So educating yourself is the road, is the path to personal transformation. All right. Submit yourself for mentorship, attend courses, read books, associate yourself, change your circle of influence. You see, it's time that people begin to audit their relationships, and begin to ask ourselves very honest questions. You cannot be better than the people you are relating with. If you move with 5 wealthy people, and I'm not talking wealth in terms of cash only, you see people that with the way they are behaving right now, you know that in 5 years, this will be the major movers and shakers in the economy. Those are the people to start relating with. right? They may not look like, they may not be out there, nobody may know them. And let me be honest with you, most people who already have evidence are usually suspicious when people come to them. All right. So you want to start forming your own clique, forming your own relationship, forming your own partnerships right now. Okay. So everybody wants to associate with what is reigning, but you should be very sensitive and discerning to recognize those who will be. There were many guys that I have relationship with 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that nobody knew them, right? And the only way you can begin to connect with people who have evidence, and then relationship can spark almost instantly, is when you two already have evidence. Okay, like those category of people. So it's important that you begin to evaluate your relationship. It's a critical ingredient for personal transformation. That's why it's so important, right? It's very, very key that you invest in your relationships. I often say to people, you see, when you start to make money, one of the fundamentals you should start investing money in is not in shares. Apart from investing in yourself, is to invest in quality relationships. If you change your circle of relationship, it will change your life. If you invest in environments that will stimulate your creativity, innovation, that will inspire you, right? I'm telling you, there's something about this. Can I shock you? Do you realize that if you go to some environments, I try to see, um, I try to view life from two sides of the coin. And I've been to some environments where if you can feel demonic presence, it's so thick. You go to some places and it's synonymous to poverty and lack and hardship. The place is also usually dirty and all of those things. But you go to some places on planet Earth, it feels like you are in heaven. And I've been to such environments. Now, if you make investments where you visit those environments from time to time, you soak those environments in, it has a way, it's it pulls you to where you really want to be. Okay, it expands your thinking. Okay, so that's very, very important. So your relationships, the quality of information, education is very, very important. And I'm just not just talking the school form of education, the conventional education. As important as that is, it does not guarantee wealth. Okay, it may get you a job. It can't even help you to get promoted. What I'm telling you is really what even helps you to get promoted. For the working class professionals listening to us, you would realize that what is helping you to scale is your ability to negotiate, connect with people, to communicate, leadership. Those are things that are often not taught in the four walls of classroom. So your technical skill can give you a job, but it is these other soft skills that help you to rise through the ranks. Now, having said that, I remember the story of a very great dear mentor also, who said when he was much younger and he was making a lot of money, he said whenever he's driving to his place of work, he said at the time he used to live in Ogba, and his office was in maybe Koyi or VI or so, and that he usually drives past this particular estate, and that whenever he's returning back home, he will drive into that neighborhood and just wound down his glasses and then just soak in the environment. He said in less than a year, he was living in that neighborhood. He said, imagine, he asked me, this is a very, very personal thing. He said, imagine that it is Ogba that he was. That there's nothing wrong with Ogba, don't get me wrong. Okay? Because there are people who are living there. All right. So there's not, so, but imagine many of the deals, many of the kind of transactions he was able to close was not premised on Ogba. So environment plays a critical role. That's the emphasis for me, right? And you may not even be able to afford those kind of locations, but you can create Ikoyi in Ogba, wherever you are. Okay? You can create it. You can create whatever environment that inspires you. You can create it in your house. Okay? If it is smart home, whatever smart that makes your home really something to look forward to. Put it, install it in your house, wherever it is. Okay. And of course, as you begin to improve financially, then you can change location, geographical location. Okay. So I think that's extremely important when people are looking to improve and experience personal transformation. It's very critical. I call it the foundation for financial freedom. It's the foundation. It is the invisible part that generates the visible. And that is why not many people pay attention to that. Because it's the unseen part. It is the unseen part of the equation. But that is what is responsible for everything that you see. So you want to copy somebody who is successful by driving that type of car, wearing their type of clothes, and all of those things. But you are not becoming the kind of person that produce those results. That's why your visions, your dreams, your results are not long lasting. So when you lose those things, you don't even have the capacity to reproduce it. When you become a superior version of yourself, even when, because you are going to have some losses, I can tell you that one upfront. In fact, it's part of the making, it's part of your transformation. I can tell you that one for free as somebody who has made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, have been ups and downs. Go and ask anybody who is a creme de la creme in any industry, who has made anything significant. They've lost money in the process. And it's part of the making, it's part of the transformation too. So in as much as you should give attention to education, give attention to this, don't joke with this information I just told you. But one of the things that will ensure you are able to reproduce it is becoming a superior version of yourself. I was listening to Fox News recently, and Elon Musk was being interviewed, and the conversation went on to the fact that I think X.com was hacked, right? Tesla also was hacked. It's under severe attack. Both virtually, his business are under attack, his life is under attack. He has to double up, especially because of the Doge, his interference in helping in enhancing efficiency in governance in the United States. So his life is under attack, and his business are also under attack. But he responded to those issues while smiling. I caught wisdom from there. His market cap has reduced significantly in terms of his wealth has crashed significantly. But this guy is smiling. What will make a person smile even in the midst of adversity? He has become a superior version of himself. And this is not the first time he's experiencing such losses. So he has track record of losses. It's part of the making, it's part of your transformation. Okay. So if you have ever lost money before, or you are losing money, don't be depressed. It's part of your making. Rather than greet it with depression and loss of hope, greet it with joy and gratitude. Right? It's just a phase. It will pass. Yeah. I need to stop there so that we can.
That was really extensive. I'm sure everyone listening is soaking in all of this, and like, let's just take a break here. I like how you mentioned that the most important person, the most critical success factor in the journey to financial freedom is us. And there's a need for us to invest in ourselves, like intentionally invest in ourselves. And you mentioned some of the things that we need to invest in. As much as we're investing in ourselves, we start with the kind of information that we consume, the association that we belong to, the communities that we belong to, the environments that we find ourselves, because our environment, whether we know it or not, has a way of influencing us in the decisions that we
Absolutely.
make and in the drive
Absolutely.
and the targets that we want to achieve. So I
Absolutely.
really like that. And as you were speaking to that, one of the things that came to my mind that I've heard you talk about before is about the art and the science of wealth, the unseen and the seen part, like the hardware and the software part. that,
Absolutely.
comes together to help us
Mhm.
become that person that can achieve financial freedom. And
Mhm.
this is very, very significant. I like the fact that you also mentioned the pyramid of life, talking about the reason why we're not achieving is because we're not doing. And the reason why we're not doing is because we have not yet become that
Absolutely.
person. And all of this has been, elaborated on in your book,
Mhm.
Financial Freedom Master Guide. So if you're listening to this and you've never heard about the book and you don't
This
have a
is the book.
copy, you would also see it. Yes, that's the copy of the book. It's on Amazon and it's also in the description. Please make sure that you get a copy. One of the greatest gifts that you can give yourself is buy yourself quality things, things that will not fade, some intangible things beyond the evident things, the visible things that you can see. There are some things that you really, really need to invest in. And I can assure you that the Financial Freedom Master Guide is one of the things that you want to invest in. Get a copy for yourself and the people around you. Because if you hear these things and the people around you don't also come along with this journey, they're going to drag you back or they'll just hinder you from becoming that person that you want to be. So thank you very much for this. This is a lot. I'm still taking it in. I wonder how the audience would even cope. These are times where you need to pause, write down some things, make some decisions. Um, one of the decisions I made as I was listening to everything you were saying was I was telling myself, I'm not going to renew my rent. I need to change my environment because sometimes the goals that we set is because of the things that we see around us.
Mhm.
If we see big picture thinking, if we see people achieving greater things,
Mhm.
then we would aim and aspire for more. But it's
Mhm.
because we have set the standards low and
Mhm.
very little, we think, oh, we are doing well. When we can actually do better, we can stretch ourselves. So I
Mhm.
really want to say thank you very much for that. Um, the next thing would be for some of us, the reason why we are the way we are is because of the things that we've heard about money, maybe from our background, from our upbringing. There are some myths about money that we've heard our parents, talk about. They tell you, does money grow on tree? Money is not grass. Do you put a tree like in your backyard where you're plucking money? And some of these things are sort of shaped how we are, some of the things that we believe. So I'd like you to share, maybe one or two myths that you've also heard about money, growing up and how you overcome or overcame all of those myths.
All right. So thank you very much for even touching on that. Um, so the set of beliefs, sets of um, thought patterns, mindsets. These are the things that actually influence most of our decisions, and most of them were acquired. You were not born with them, but they were acquired based on your handlers, based on those who raised you, based on the environments you grew up in, based on the kind of people you grew up with. So I often say to people that we have all been preconditioned um, to act the way we do. You think you are the one taking your decisions. No, you were. There's a software that was installed in you as you grew up through experiences, through interactions, right? Um, in therapy, there's what we call a significant emotional experience. So you find out that sometimes if you have sustained a loss or you experienced someone or you have interaction with somebody who experienced a loss, you share in their pain or in their joy. If it caused them setback, massive setback, it has installed a new software inside of you. If you are not conscious of that, it will inform how you conduct yourself, okay, afterward. So let me give an example. If you grew up in a family, and some of us may be familiar with stories like this, where your father probably got married to several people, several women, and you are probably the child or daughter or son of the second wife, and the man passed on, your father passed on, and then the first wife and her children are the only ones who lay hold on the inheritance, if there was any, if there were any asset whatsoever. And then your mother and the other wives have nothing, and so all of you were stranded. That creates a significant emotional experience. Now, two things can happen from that. You can become bitter and most likely repeat most things you are bitter about. You repeat it. You repeat the same error of the past. Or you become better and say, I will not marry more wives. I will marry only one wife. You see, are you seeing how these significant emotional experiences can change the trajectory of our lives and alter the kind of decision? So the fact that the fact that you came out from a polygamous home does not mean you should start a polygamous home. Do you get the point I'm making? The fact that you probably came out from a broken home doesn't mean a broken home should also come out of you. So it all depends on how you greet those experiences, and all of that informs the kind of beliefs, the kind of mindset. You'll be shocked, why people act the way they do. Even the people don't know why they act the way they do. It tells you that there's the power of this software is enormous. Is enormous. And that also brings me to a very critical thing. I know you are asking what are the type of software. I got to a point where, in the journey of my life, where I started feeling like, why do many of my classmates those days when I was still in primary school, secondary school, were they able to pay their school fees on time and we were not, for example? And my parents were hardworking people. They worked so hard, right? So I used to wonder, why is their own case different and ours look very difficult? And in the course of my own search and research, I stumbled on things that made me to say, okay, so there was nothing wrong with starting a business, but there's something wrong with doing business this particular way. Okay? If you run a business, for example, and it is a contract business, you are a contractor, right? It means that when that contract expires, you need to have another contract to continue to earn income. So every time contract comes, running a business as a contractor is not a sustainable business model, in essence. So there's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur, but there's something wrong with building your business around building your business, as a contractor, which is time-based. So I looked at the revenue model of most contracts or most contractors, and I see it's very similar. And there were things that those who were contractors were doing that if you need to continue to make money from contract, then you need to be doing those things as well. For example, if you run a contract, the money you get as a contractor is not the money, it's not your money. When you deliver the project, whatever is now your profit is your money. But what you now do with that money matters a great deal. So do you acquire assets from the money? Do you nurture relationships that gave you the initial contract so that you can continue to get more referrals? I don't know if you get the point I'm making. So I saw that, okay, it was the revenue model of my father's business was more, it was into steel fabrication. He was a structural engineer. He's still a structural engineer. He still does all those things. But I realized that, okay, it was the model, the business model that was faulty. And my father knew a lot of very powerful people, but I don't think he built a quality relationship with those people. So I realized that, okay, if I really, really want to create wealth, if I really, really want to, even if I'm going to do that type of a business, which is not my line anyway, right? I must invest in relationships. I must build solid structure, and I must acquire assets so that whenever there's no flow of assets or flow of contracts, we still have passive flow of income. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So that was pretty much part of my my discovery. So the mindset that brought you here can't take you to the next level. And some of those mindsets, you must shift from active income to multiple streams of income. You don't have to work all your life for the money. You have to engage the money to start working, for you as well. Those are some of the things I have personally discovered. All right, so essentially, the where was I? So the mindset that brought you here, what brought you here, can take you to the next level. So one of it for me was one of those mindsets I knew and I recognized I needed to change was um, um, not relying only on active income, ensuring that your active income is also converted, a significant portion of that is converted into assets. It could be to start a new business, could be to acquire new properties, could be to create a new um, intellectual property. Property is not only digital asset, it's also an asset. All right, intellectual property, books, right, courses. Those were things I began to realize that, oh, these are the things I now must begin to invest uh, both money and time and resources into. All right, and of course, multiple streams of income is also one of them. Um, so, in the case of my parents and the family where I came from, once one aspect of revenue is shut down, we are literally down, right? Practically down. Can you still hear me? We are practically down once one part of the revenue is down. So, but when you have different streams to revenue, it also helps in fortifying you against scarcity, famine, and lack. The other thing that I've also come to realize is there's a secret, there's a science to making money. And that is one thing I believe that has enhanced my own level of confidence, and is the exact same thing I'm also transferring to other people. When you know how to make money, the number one proof that you are truly wealthy is not that you have a lot of cash, it's that you can produce whatever you need whenever you need it.
Mm.
That is the number one evidence. That's the number one proof that you are truly wealthy. Okay, so I think I'll stop there for now.
I like that. Number one proof or evidence of wealth is that you are able to produce what you want when you need it on your own terms and
Yes,
conditions. Wow. Wow. I'm sure that everyone listening, you would have picked your own belief system. I like how you made reference to the parts where you wondered why other kids were able to pay their school fees earlier.
mhm,
Because it happened to me too. Because I'm like, my daddy goes to work in the morning, your daddy goes to work in the morning, but the mathematics is not.
it's not matter.
We work hard in the rain, in the sun, the same thing. And it seems that you are doing better. I really like all of these references, and also about the fact of being a contractor, because we've had uncles, even our parents at some point have been contractors where it looks like there's this point where there's a lot
A
of
lot of money,
money
yeah,
and then everything is dry for six
yeah,
months and then another money comes, like it's on and off. So I like how you mentioned correcting our mindsets, because some people is from those experiences that they said, I'm not going to start a business, I'm just going to be in a 9 to 5 job, not knowing that there's a how to do business.
absolutely,
And it's just unfortunate that what the model that they saw was the wrong model,
yeah,
right? So they chose the bitter part instead of becoming a better version. So
yeah,
I like that you mentioned that. So my next question would be, now that we've identified what some of these beliefs and mindsets, because I believe that it's our mindset and our belief system that propels us to action, that helps us to take certain steps. So it means that our mindset informs our habit.
mhm,
So, and it's our habit that determines our destiny
yeah,
ultimately,
yeah,
whether we know it or not, because I
absolutely,
heard that from you as well.
absolutely,
So, and I know that in the Financial Freedom Master Guide, you listed some of the habits that we need to live, habits that we need to imbibe consciously or unconsciously, that needs to be our operating system. So I'd like you to speak to, maybe not all, because if we take
oh,
all, I'm not sure that
we don't have
we'll
all.
leave here today. So maybe the ones that you consider maybe your best two. that everyone should have, irrespective of their age, their size, their location, wherever they found themselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I actually wanted to just open the book itself, and then, you know, just just to give some people a taste. Um, this is very rich. I must say. I must say. One of those habits I must mention, without looking at the book. I wrote the book, by the way. So, without looking at the book, one of those habits is the need to practice gratitude. I have come to realize again and again that we are all energy beings, and where energy flows, money flows. So where energy drains from, it means money is also leaving the place. So, and gratitude is a powerful force for enhancing your positive energy, and ingratitude is the cause of negative energy. So, as human beings, you are either repelling or attracting. The kind of energy you are transmitting determines what you are emitting. It determines also what you are, the kind of energy you are transmitting determines what you attract or what you repel. Are you getting what I'm talking about? So it must be a deliberate move. I know some people will say, "Oh, sorry, it's because you already are on top there. That's why you can be talking the way you are." Listen, listen. If I give you part one, volume one of trouble and challenges, you'll be shocked at why. You mean somebody can be going through all this and they will be this excited? We are not faking it. It's the understanding. I've interacted with the great and the mighty, my people, and I can tell you for free that people up there are going through more issues than you know about. The issue is that they just don't come out to tell about their troubles until it has become a testimony. That's the only reason. That's the only difference. So practice gratitude. Make a conscious effort. Now, no matter where you are in life, there's something that is working in your life, right? One thing I've come to realize is no matter how disadvantaged you think you are, there are still people around your life who are still trusting God to be like you. So there will always be people ahead of you. There will always be people behind you. So if you look closely enough, there's something that is working in your life. Show gratitude. Practice gratitude. Come up with a gratitude journal. Document top 3 to 5 things to be grateful for. Number one thing I can tell you one thing to be grateful for is life, the gift of life. There are younger people than you that are dead. There are older people than yourself that are dead. That you have age mates who are in prison. You have age mates that are in psychiatric hospitals. The things that you wish you had, it's because you still have a sense of reasoning and you are still alive. So the gift of life is something to be grateful for. Just today, I saw a post of a very beautiful lady whom we met in Dubai during a mentorship program a few years ago. And I just saw on the post right now, she's late. Beautiful inside out. So there are more gorgeous people, more intelligent people than you who are no more. The gift of life, write it down. Thank God for the gift of life. Let that keep you grateful. Ingrates don't last. It's only the things you appreciate that appreciate in value. So learn to appreciate. Practice gratitude. It's a major, major, major habit that successful people practice. I know this may sound like a cliche, it sounds abstract. Because you are looking, what's the correlation between that and money? Your energy level determines your creativity level. So you are going to be able to create at a superior level whenever you are grateful. Listen, anything that gets your heart, anything that gets you to be depressed has gotten your money. Anything that steals your joy, that steals your excitement, has stolen your wealth. I'm being factual, I'm being sincere with you. And that's why it's so powerful. It's so powerful a habit you must develop. I think I should leave it there. Let me not talk more on others. Okay, maybe I should share this. The second one I would recommend you do is think abundance. You know why I'm focusing on these other ones? There are other things I listed in the book, you can get them, that look more practical, but this is also practical. Think abundance. Think abundance. Speak abundance. Think and speak abundance. Let me tell you something. I wanted to go into the book and I know that it would have been a distraction, but let me share this with you. There's a law called the law of attraction. That law states that everything that happens around you is a reflection of what is happening inside of you. So most of the things that are happening around you is mirroring the events in your heart. So if you want to change what is happening around you, you want to regulate what is going on inside of you. So you have to force your mind, force your thoughts on the desires of your heart, on the things that you want to see. Don't focus it. See, in Yoruba land, they use ma ronu. Ronu is worry and it's thinking also. So when they say don't think, don't worry, is ronu in Yoruba land. If they say don't think or think, is also ronu. But please, it means that it's the same thing. It's just that one is constructive, the other one is destructive. If you think on what is going wrong in your life, you are tending more toward worry. That energy will repel opportunities. And then if you focus more on the things that you really want to accomplish, you write down your visions, your goals, your dreams, you start sketching it, you start, you know, you perform the role of a sculptor. You start curating it, you start writing it. And today we now have all sorts of tools. So think abundance. Also speak abundance. Have an affirmation that I have popularized now, I've made it, or anybody who comes in contact with me, you must continue to profess this. First thing when you wake up, the last thing you say before you retire to bed. Because the things you are saying, right, is programming your subconscious mind to supply you ideas and supply you opportunities. One thing that once you start to declare those things will do to you is that you start to recognize opportunities more readily than people who are not. So everything you would ever require to fulfill your destiny is not going to be created. It's already available, only awaiting your recognition. So every time you make those affirmations, you declare those things, and you begin to dwell on those things in your mind, what it does for you is that it helps you to quickly recognize those things when you see them. So you recognize opportunities, you recognize platforms, products, people, places that can facilitate the realization of those dreams. So everything it has been around you. It's just that you did not recognize it because you are not priming your subconscious mind to do so. All right. So that affirmation, I've just said it here just for the purpose of this particular platform. So I am very happy. So you close your eyes, imagine what exactly you want to achieve, and close your eyes. And please don't say small things. And I need to say this. Stop saying small things. Stop thinking small. You are not giving the creator opportunity to you are not giving opportunity for massive manifestation in your life when you are thinking small. There's a particular figure I've been saying now for more than 2 years, right? But I switched it this morning. I switched it 10 exits this morning. Why? Because your words create your world. It's not fluke. This is reality. Everything that's happening, things are created twice. First in the realm of the spirit, and then in the physical. So if you don't like what you are seeing in the physical, then change it in the realm of the spirit with your words. Words are like stones. If I throw stones at you, you will feel the impact. Those are the same way words are in the realm of the spirit. Okay? So I say things like, I am very happy and grateful now that millions of dollars are flowing to me in increasing quantity through multiple sources and on a consistent and monthly basis. I always have more money than I need, and I can't help but attract a lot of money into my life and businesses. Amen. I say it again and again. My recommendation is if you can do it 50 times daily, 25 in the morning, 25 at night, there's no way your mind will not be robust. And mind you, say it feelingly. What I mean by that is you say it emotionally. It must be emotion filled. Okay? Say it feelingly. The language of the subconscious mind is emotion. You cannot impress any thought or idea on your subconscious mind without emotion. That's why significant emotional experiences have significant impact and impression on your subconscious mind. And that's why it regulates and defines all the decisions that you take in your life. This is a very, very powerful concept. Time will really permit me to go into all of that. And that's primarily the reason why I recommend that you join um, our next edition of Financial Freedom Challenge. Would drop. It's a 5-day, financial freedom challenge. Every day we look at 2 to 3 hours daily. From every this next month. You don't want to miss it for any reason. And if you are watching this video when it's not in session, you can reach out with all the contacts in the description for the next edition, right? So, but this next month is going to be mind-blowing. I've been thinking about it, and I'm thinking we can help more people. My vision is actually to raise 1 million global millionaires, right? 1 million. So I'm not going to sit down here and think that everybody knows this, because to be honest with you, one of the things that have made me to stay by myself is that I keep thinking that, okay, everybody should know this, everybody knows it. But I realize that, okay, or everybody has taught this, or everybody has read this. But I realize that not everybody who is reading it is distributing it. It's not everybody who knows this is distributing it. And there are people whose destinies are connected to mine. That's why I've committed myself. This is not just it's not a money-making venture. It's a mission. It's a life mission. And I encourage you to go join the next cohort. It's going to be mind-blowing. I'm telling you. So I'm going to be sharing some very deep stuff that I probably have never shared with anybody before. So if you finish that 5 day, I won't need to be reminding you on anything. You will be running, as in you will know exactly, you will gain clarity, you will know exactly what you should be doing afterward. That's one thing that will happen to you. I'm too sure of that. Okay. So so think and speak abundance. There is a concept I also usually teach, is the concept of TEAR. T represents thoughts, E is emotion, A is action, then R is result. So whatever you ponder on, talking about your thoughts, it eventually precipitates into an emotion. And that emotion is what fuels your action. And your action is what determines your result. So this is what I often recommend. Choose your result, then think more about the result, and then add speaking that result to it. It will fuel your emotion. It will precipitate into that emotion. You will not be in that emotional state, right? And that emotion is what will fuel your action. That action will eventually get you back to that same result that you once wrote down. And that brings us also to vision board. So by the time you write things, you look for the pictorial description of your goals, your dreams, whatever it is you want to manifest. When you see it more regular, you can put it on your wallpaper, on your phone, and all of those things, or you can put it on the board wherever you go more frequently. You want to put it there. When you see it more regularly, it's feeding your subconscious mind. Okay, and you'll be amazed. Think more on that. speak more on that, the result will manifest. Those are the habits. Those are the two habits I will talk about for now. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. That was a lot. Just two of this of the various or numerous habits that you need to imbibe. Practice gratitude, because when you are grateful, it determines the kind of energy that you exude, and the energy that you give off determines what you attract. So you want positive things, you want good things, then you need to practice gratitude. And if you don't practice gratitude, then it's the other way around. And it's not just enough for you to also just say, oh, I only practice gratitude. That's just one of it. Another thing is to think and speak abundance. Think and speak abundance. And from thinking and speaking abundance, OC has shared with us the money creed or his money affirmation. If you also look at the description, you would see how you'll be able to download this. It will be in a downloadable format that you can use as your wallpaper, that you can print out, maybe stick it everywhere in your house, put it on your fridge, on your refrigerator, your restroom, wherever it is that you go. Just make sure that you're bumping into it. And like you said, it's not just once and then you leave it. No, it's more than just a prescription. Like you said, you can say it 50 times, 25 in the morning. So you can even set alarms, like prompts on your phone to
Mhm.
say your money create is, it's time for you to take your affirmation, because as you say it, you now begin to process it. And he also mentioned the concept of the tier concept, where some of the things that you begin to think about and you begin to speak about will form the thoughts in your heart that will also determine the emotion that you have, which will guide the action that you take and ultimately the result that you give. I mean, this is the master class. And like he said, don't miss the upcoming financial freedom challenge that is going to coming up next month. So if you know that you are interested in participating, hurry now and reach out to us via the details that you can see in the description box, emails, social media platforms. Just ensure that you reach out. Even if you're listening afterwards, after the challenge has ended, there are always new cohorts of the challenge. So it never ends, right? So you can keep participating. Wow, this has been great. A lot that I'm still soaking in. Um, there's some things that when we begin to practice, the people around us, they sometimes laugh at us. And some people are not firm or resilient enough to say, I'm going to stay the course. Sometimes they think some things are overnight sensation, like overnight, they just appear like that. They don't know that some things take time. So if I'm evaluating myself as a person, how do I know when I've started acting from a rich mindset or a transform mindset? Are there visible testimonies or fruits that I will begin to see and say, I know that I've not yet handled it tangibly, but I know that in my subconscious something has changed. I'm no longer who I used to be. I am becoming another person. You want to share some of that with us, sir?
So the first thing that begins to manifest, just like you rightly said, people around you will not see it. Even you will not see anything tangible, right? Um, I recently posted on a group, and I think I've shared on many platforms at different points in time, that every growth is gravitropic first before it becomes phototropic, away from light before it goes toward light. So gravitropic means you grow roots before you grow fruits. Before people start seeing fruits, you need to grow roots. And one of the things that will begin to manifest for you is there's this confidence. It's not arrogance, it's just confidence, just faith. It's just there is this assurance that sooner or later, sooner or later, you know, it doesn't matter who despise you, doesn't matter who speak ill of you, you know they are speaking from their realm. You have gone far, far above them. All right. Um, so always recognize that the growth process is first root before fruit. And if your fruit start to manifest quickly, it's a signal that your root is not deep. It's shallow. And it means also that your fruit will not last. That is the difference between orange tree and corn. So corn will shoot out quickly. So within 3 to 5 months, you can harvest corn. But that's also the end of the corn. When you harvest it, that's the end of the corn. But you see the bamboo tree, you see the mango tree, you see the orange tree, they go roots first. So everything that will gain stability, anything that will last, must grow roots first. So you are growing roots. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not failing, you are just rooting. Okay? And it's important, it's also to give you hope. It's also to reassure you that when your fruit starts to manifest, eh, it will be more sustainable. And that's more important to you. That should give you some confidence. One thing that will begin to happen to you is that your faith will rise. You become more aware. You recognize opportunity more readily. You become more creative, right? Um, it's not lack of resources that is hindering you or will hinder you. It is lack of resourcefulness. So one of the things that will begin to happen to you is that you will be able to make the most of every opportunity, every resources that is available to you part time, without comparing yourself with any. You will have you have a healthy self-esteem. Hmm? You'll be able to celebrate with others when they begin to celebrate their own fruits, because you know your own is coming. Envy will not be your problem. You won't be dealing with jealousy. That won't be your problem. You know your own is coming. Let me give you an example. If you are a single lady, a single guy, and all the potential suitors are either looking down on you or they are not looking at your side, you will know that it is to their own loss. And you will know that it's to their own loss. You won't think that but your own time has passed. No, your own time is coming. It's not past. It's coming. And when it's coming in a grand style. Are you following what I'm talking about? So this is very, very, very important. So keep growing, keep rooting, and then your fruit will manifest. So those are the things I can say in that respect. I don't know if I answered your question.
Perfect. It was spot on. And I like the concept of routine. I never really thought about it, right? The depth of your routine would determine how high up you're going to go. And it means that your wealth is going to be sustainable. It's not going to be fickle. It's not going to come as a flash and just,
Mm-hmm.
this. It's not going to be a shooting star. It's going to be a star
Mm-hmm.
that would just always be there. So I really, really, really like that concept. It, I think it can even be a book,
Oh,
because if
absolutely.
you want to talk about the gravitropical and phototropical process, there are some things that you also need to put in place when you are rooting, the things you need to
Yeah.
kind of soil, the things you need to surround yourself, which is some of the things that we've already spoken about the
Yeah.
mindset,
It's part
the
of personal
belief.
transformation.
Hmm.
That's what is going on.
Yes,
That's what is going on.
yes, yes.
There's a lot of weeding. There's a lot of
Hmm.
weeding that will need to happen. There's a lot of fertilizing that will take
Yeah.
place. There's a lot of planting that will take
Preparation.
place. Exactly. So,
Yeah. I really like this, and I've had an amazing time, talking about personal transformation. I have learned a lot, and we can't overemphasize that indeed the foundation, the most important part of this journey's financial freedom is personal transformation. And we can talk about personal transformation from now till till God
yes.
knows when, because every stage that we get to, life is about continuous learning. There's no, oh, I have known it all. No, you never graduate
Mhm,
from this school of financial freedom,
mhm,
because change is the only
mhm.
constant thing. So we need to keep
Absolutely.
updating ourselves with new information, new association every now and then. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for this